Porch Light Letters podcast number 2327, Little Adventures, Big Wins. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. And I'm Helen Brahms. If you have not seen me before, I come on here on a daily basis, not normally this late in the day, usually around 6 p.m. Pacific time, which is 3 p.m. New Zealand time. But today I was sitting enjoying an ice cream and realized what the time was and went, yeah, let me finish my ice cream first and then I'll go to my podcast. So I got sidetracked by ice cream. It was Neapolitan today. My dad rolls these really cool ice creams for us and puts them into cones. And yeah, so today's flavor was Neapolitan, and the strawberry had real strawberries in it too. So anyway, so let's talk about today. So today is my Sunday. Back in the States, it's Sunday today. Today it is Monday here in New Zealand, and it is the day that I have off. So we had errands to do. So we hopped in the car and drove down to Porirua and went to the mall there, and I think it's called City Centre. Anyway, we got there, and there's this park that my parents have parked in. Every time they go to the mall, there is this one park they get. Again, it was free, it was available, so we parked there and walked inside. And they said they've very rarely ever gone there, and that park's been taken. So that's kind of like their parking space. Anyway, we got inside, and Mum had a free birthday muffin from Muffin Break, which is one of those places that just stand in the middle of the mall, and I've got their own little place and all that. So we went and got that. My dad and I both had double chocolate muffin. I should have taken a photo of it. It was absolutely awesome. It was the top of it was about this round, and it has a very big crust that hangs out over the actual base of the muffin. And on top it had this chocolate icing on it with these little sprinkles and other pieces that kind of formed like a little Christmas tree. And it had a little candy snowflake on there. It was really cute and very yummy. So we got that. So him and I had that. Mum had a raspberry crumble, I think it was called. And it had this cream cheese frosting on it. And supposedly had a cream cheese center as well, which didn't quite taste like cream cheese. It's very sweet. We think they might have actually made it with cream cheese but put some icing sugar in there, confectioner's sugar for the Americans, and had it cooked in the center of the thing. Mum said the muffin was okay, but it was overly sweet. So yeah, and then she got her cup of tea for free, and Dad and I had hot chocolates, and they put marshmallow. I would have to tell you, the marshmallows down here in New Zealand taste way better than the marshmallows that I've had in the States. These ones here have a little bit of not a hard crust, a very soft crust, but you're biting into a marshmallow, and they're flavored. They're not like the unflavored ones that you get in the States, and they're about that big, about that tall. So we did that. Then we had to go back to the shoe shop where I bought my shoes from, because they were having a sale on a particular brand of socks that my parents like to use. And it was buy 3 pairs and get 1 free. And so we got there and they still had them on, and their favorite salesperson was there. And so got talking with her. And when I was here 6 years ago and got my New Balance shoes, she's the person that helped me pick those out. At this time, when I went a few weeks back and got the shoes I now wear, my walking shoes, I had a different guy doing it. And he was literally ready to tear his hair out. But he kept his patience. He bought out this last pair, which is the pair I ended up with. And kind of once they're on my feet, I hate tying shoelaces. And they've got them threaded so that the back where the heel is gets pulled in, because I have wide feet but very narrow heels. And I have my usual walking socks on, and to get them into the shoe, and all the other ones kept slipping at the heel, and this was the only pair, and he had to do this crazy thing with the laces at the back end to pull the heels in, and those ones didn't slip. So I could see the look of relief on his face when I said it. Finally said, these aren't slipping. So we got the socks, then we left there, and we drove from the mall around to go to Chemist Warehouse. I will tell you about that in a moment. But as we're driving along, I see this building. I went to Mum and Dad. I said, that's where the first McDonald's was in New Zealand, wasn't it? And they said, yeah. I said, what's Cobb & Co. doing in there? Now, Cobb & Co. is this really cool restaurant. It was one of my favorite restaurants to go to as a kid. They had these drinks called traffic lights, and they had green, yellow, and red layered in them. And you had to move your straw up and down based on which section you wanted to taste, or you could mix it all up and all of that. But when I was last here 6 years ago, we went to a Cobb& Co. And yes, the decor has changed a lot. It's been brought up to date. The menu is pretty much the same as it was back then. There's a few new items on there. There's some items that have been removed, but they still had things that they were known for. Like my favorite one is Wiener Schnitzel. It is absolutely amazing. I love it. But Cobb & Co. has moved into where the old McDonald's was. And I said, yeah, and Cobb & Co. used to be up over here. They had a restaurant. Mum and Dad says, yeah, they got closed down up there because of some health issues. And but they then moved into there and opened up, and they're doing fine now. But the building they'd been in had gone. And so we got around to Chemist Warehouse. How do I describe Chemist Warehouse? Chemist Warehouse is a cross between a CVS and a Costco, but you don't have the membership. You walk in there, they've got these tall shelves. I could reach the tall shelf barely up with my feet on the floor. I had my walking shoes on, so I had like about this much sole on them. So with my feet on the floor, I could reach up and I could go like this to get into the boxes that were on the top shelf. And my arm was extended to do that. And then from the top of the shelf up to almost the ceiling, they had stacks of stock. Some were in boxes, some were not. And I found where the protein, but I have to say, walking in the door there, they had all the fragrance stuff right at the door. You could smell it. You could smell the fragrance before you got to the entry of this place. I was like, oh, jeepers. So I took a big, deep breath and just walked straight through around people to get through that area before I took another breath. I had to. It was so overpowering. Before you even got in the store, you could smell the fragrance outside. I was like, oh, this isn't good. Mum and Dad hate going in here, but we needed to go in there because there was some stuff they needed to get from there. And so I walk in, I'm just like looking around. I see the protein stuff. I needed some protein shakes. I had already done research on what protein powder I wanted. There was 2 brands. One was called Raw and the other one was called Two Islands. So I went into this aisle. You had the shelves going up. They had these big, like about this tall, about this round of protein powder. These were big, massive things. And I thought, yeah, and they're all whey protein, not what I was looking for. But then they had these canisters stacked on the top shelf all the way up to the roof. I was like, well, this is interesting. Then they had this huge, massive section of protein bars. Already worked those out as well. So I went along and got the protein. And then they had these ones that were on special. And if you purchase 5 of them, you got a 5% discount. Well, that was easy to do. They were all on special anyway. So got that. And then I was looking around for the protein powder and could not find Two Islands. Two Islands was my number one choice. Couldn't find them. And I'm like, darn. And I turned and looked at the shelf that was behind me in the aisle. I'm at the end of the building. Mum and Dad are somewhere in the store. I have no clue where they are. And I'm standing there with my 9 protein bars and looking up and down this thing. And I walk to the end to have a look around, and there's Mum and Dad, and were asking some guy where some particular cough drop or something was. And he says, yes, come this way, please. And off they went. And I was like, okay, they're taken care of. They're not waiting on me. And then I turned around and there was the Raw protein powder. So I checked up and down everything up there. Couldn't see the Two Islands anywhere. So if I need to try that, it's going to have to be mail ordered. And so got the protein powder, looked at the back of it to make sure it was the one I wanted. It was. And so then I went in search of, and then I had to find a shaker because I didn't have a shaker. Mum and Dad have a blender, but at 5 o'clock in the morning, I don't want to have a blender going. I want to be able to shake my protein powder. And so went and found them, and we all went up to the counter, and I purchased my stuff, they purchased their stuff. We got in and then we had to do the, well, I couldn't really smell the fragrance from that end. It must have just all been blowing out the door. We got back in the car and then just drove home and had lunch when we got home. Oh, that's when we got home, I found the contract. Opened my email because I want to see, has the contract arrived yet? The contract had arrived. So I filled it out. I had a couple of questions about something that Dad was able to help me with, and filled it, signed everything I needed to sign, initialed everything I needed to initial, submitted it, and with 15 to 20 minutes later, the rental listing had gone from the site. They had pulled it. I was like, yes, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Now we just got to wait for the money to arrive from New Zealand, from the US, so I can pay the bond and the week. It's a bond, which is 4 weeks of rent, and They want 1 week in advance, so I can pay that. But I have to wait for the money to come from the States. So that's what we're waiting on now. So tomorrow I'll find out, is the money on the way? Is it being held up? Is there another way that I can do it, get it here faster? Because they say it's going to take 5 to 7 or 5 to 10 business days. I'm like, I can't wait that long. I'm going to be in this place in, what is it? It'll be 2 weeks from Wednesday here in New Zealand that I take it over. So I've got 16 days. It's the 15th here today, so in 16 days that place is mine. And I'm like, yay! So I'm kind of a little nervous, but excited. I've already worked out the bus route and found the times for that, but it doesn't tell me when it's in my street. So I have to figure out the route because there's a bus stop right outside my place. Like, I walk down the driveway and it's right there. Yeah, here's my driveway. Here's the bus shelter, right next to each other. Yeah, and I don't have a car yet. I don't have a bike yet. So a bike is probably going to be the next thing that I will get, because it's about a 15-minute bike ride from where I'm going to be living to Mum and Dad's place if I take the biking trails. I can take the biking trails so far, then I'm onto surface streets, which means I'm going to have to get a helmet, actually I've got a reflective vest with me. I wonder if that'll be enough. I might get a second reflective vest. Yeah. And then I'll have my backpack, which I'll make sure has reflective stuff on it. Apparently you can get these things that go over if you're doing a backpack, you got these things that can go over your bag. That's a reflective thing. If I do get a bike, I want to put a basket on the front and like saddlebags on the back, so that if I go grocery shopping, I can cycle down to the store and I've got somewhere to put my groceries to get back home. And at some point, probably when I get back, some point next year, I will then look at getting a car. No, I have not driven on the others. I have not driven a car since I got to New Zealand. Yeah, but that'll be fun that'll be a fun adventure. We'll let you know when that one's coming up. But yeah, so we've just had a great day out, and then we got home, and after all of that was done, we had lunch. And then I've just sort of like been relaxing. I've been treating it like a Sunday, I was watching video. I went to lay down on my couch and watch video and read a book, but I ended up watching videos. And then Mum says, "Would you like an ice cream?" I said, "Yes, please." She said, "Well, it's ready." I went, "Okay." No clue what the time was. And I'm sitting out there eating my ice cream, and I went, I'm supposed to be on my podcast about now. And they says, "Yeah, you're a little late, aren't you?" I went, "Yeah." So here I am. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I enjoy my ice cream. So now I can go and do all my change of address. I've got my change of address card ready to go. I've just been holding off doing that until, I was going to hold it off another couple of weeks to see if I could get a place. Now I've got a place, I can go put the new address in there and get that sent out. So I'm super excited to get that done. But hang on, we have questions. I have questions. Question number 1, what everyday errands or routines today? Oh, hang on, no, did I change them? Where is it? Where's the change ones? Yeah, what everyday errands or routines today turned into something unexpectedly memorable or amusing? What does home mean to you? That's always a good question. Where is home? How do you honor and celebrate moments of progress or confirmation, like receiving signed contracts? You get a contract that's been signed, or you get sent a contract to sign. How do you think about those? And when was the last time you revisited something from your past and found it still held its magic? Like visiting Cobb & Co. I might go out to Cobb & Co one night. I don't know. I have to see if there's one up here. Then we won't have to go all the way to Porirua for it. But anyway, that's it from me. I'm out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening. And we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific or 3 p.m. New Zealand time. Hey, konara.